Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to the 25 Days of Cricut Cheer. In this video, I am going to be creating some little ornaments for my girls, and they are going to be little keepsake ornaments that are created with some nostalgic items. So I'm going to be doing some little hoop ornaments, and for my fabric, I have some little dresses that my little girls wore last year, and it was our favorite Christmas dress of the year. And it just was such a special little dress. So what I did was, in order just to keep that special, and since they've outgrown them as they always tend to do, what I'm going to do is I am going to use the fabric, and I snipped some fabric from those dresses, and I am going to place those within my little hoop so that every year during Christmas we can have a little piece of sweet memory on our Christmas tree that was part of their little dresses from that year. So it'll just be a wonderful little way to have a little trip down memory lane every year. This is also a great idea if you have a nostalgic piece of clothing that you want to cherish and keepsake. You can make a little ornament out of them, and there's so many different things you can do with keepsakes like that. So this is just one idea, and I thought it was really cute. So I'm going to make one for each of my girls, and I'm going to be using these small little ornament hoops. And what I'm going to do is, they're actually two different sizes, which is okay. I bought them separately, so they weren't perfectly matching. But this one looks like it is about, if I measure the inside, it's about 3 3/4, and then the inside of this is about 3 1/2. So they're very, very, very close. Okay, other materials I'm going to use is I'm going to use some smart iron-on because we'll be using the Cricut Joy. This is a white glitter, and I thought this would be really, really pretty and festive on the little ornaments. So we are going to be pressing a little design onto each of the little ornament fabrics. So then I have some scissors, I have some jute, and then I also have some lace ribbon just to help with hanging them on the tree, and then also with creating a little bow for the ornament. And then I have a weeding tool, and I have some hot glue. So I have my measurements all ready to go. So now we'll just hop into Design Space. We'll get the little designs all ready to go and sized, and then we'll get everything ready to cut out and press on to the little ornaments.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is come over to the shapes, and I'm just going to recreate the size of my ornaments that I'm working with. So my first one, I'm going to come up and say it's 3.5, and then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it, and then I'm going to bump the second one up to 3.75 because my loops are not exactly the same height since I purchased them from separate places. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to next come over to Images. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for snowflake. So I'm just going to come through here and see what I like the best. This one's really, really pretty. And let's see, I want to make them a little bit different from one another. I think the other one that I will do is this. I think that's really, really cute as well. So then I'm going to go ahead and insert my images. And then what I can do is, okay, and then what I can do, it looks like this is actually, if you go over to the layers panel, it's actually a draw file. So I'm going to come up to line type and see if I can make that a cut. And then in the fill, I'm going to say no fill. And then it is a cut file right there. Okay, so I'm not sure if that works for every image for converting, but it did in this case. So I'm going to go with it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make both of my snowflakes white because I'm going to be cutting them out of the white iron-on, and then I'm going to just size them down for my little design here. I'm actually going to rotate this just because I want it to be exactly right side up like this. Okay, that stuff actually matters to me, but I'm not sure if it matters to anybody else. Okay, and then I will size my next snowflake. Those are going to be so sweet. I'll size this one right over here. Okay, so that looks really, really cute to me. I think that'll be really sweet. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to simply hide the circles, and I'm going to cut out the little snowflakes. So I have my Joy selected. You can do this on any cutting machine. I'll say make it, and then I'll tell it that I'm going to do without a mat because I'm using smart iron-on. Then I'll say done. I'm going to go over and mirror my image, even though it really doesn't matter for this type. I'm going to go ahead and mirror it anyway. I'm going to see also if I can get these. I don't think I can. I was going to see if I could get those to go the other way, but I could not. Okay, even though it doesn't really matter for mirroring on this, I am always in the habit of doing so, so that is why I went ahead and mirrored it. Click continue, and then it's going to go ahead and locate my joy. I'm going to go to popular, and then I'm going to use Smart Iron-On Glitter as my setting. Then I'll go ahead and use the default pressure, which is just fine. Make sure mirror is turned on, and then we'll load our material shiny side face down. Over on my heat guide, I'm going to be using my EasyPress 2, and this will help me determine my heat settings. So my treat for transfer material is going to be Smart Glitter Iron-On. My base material is 100% cotton. I have an EasyPress mat that I'll use, and I'll hit apply. I'm going to preheat my material for 5 seconds, then I will press it at 330 degrees for 30 seconds with light pressure. I'll flip the material over and give it an additional 15 seconds of heat, and then do a cold peel.
Okay, so I have my Smart Iron-On here, and I have it the shiny side face down. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to auto load it into my machine, and then my machine will pull it in, make sure I have enough material, which I definitely do. And then once everything has been aligned, I can say go on my computer. While that's cutting, I'm going to be using my little 6x7 EasyPress 2. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and then I'm going to set the temperature for 330 degrees. The timer will be to 30 seconds, and then I'll let that preheat. Okay, so with my weeding tool, I'm going to go ahead and begin weeding my material. I'm going to go nice and slow, but glitter iron-on is super easy to weed. But I'm going to go a little bit slower with my second, just because my second one has those little circle embellishments on the snowflake. That's so cute. And I want to make sure I don't miss any as I am peeling up. And let's see, I think I just did. So if you go slow, then you can kind of monitor if anything comes up, and then you can go ahead and fix it right away instead of losing it and then having to try to find it on your scrap pieces that have been weeded out. Okay, so everything is in its place. It looks great. And then what I'm going to do is simply cut these apart because they will be placed on 2 separate pieces. Okay, now I'm going to check out my Cricut design space to see which one went on which. So I'm going to bring my material in, and let's see, this is going to go on my bigger hoop, and the other will go on the other. Okay, so we're all set. So I have my EasyPress preheated to 330 degrees for 30 seconds. And what we're going to do is we are going to preheat our material really quickly just to make sure there's no moisture. And I always have my material washed before I use it. Of course, these are definitely well washed because they were worn for a long time. But I will preheat it really quickly, and then we'll get everything pressed. Okay, so I'm just running over my material with my press here. Looks great. And then what I'm going to do is I will set my little snowflake right in the center. Now I'm trying to aim for setting my image in a darker section just so it has some more contrast. So I kind of made sure that I had plenty of dark area when I was making my cut in the center so that I knew that I wanted to have my image right in the middle there. And it doesn't matter for some materials because you might have material that is more solid or what have you, but for this I wanted to make it contrast as much as possible. So that's all set. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to take my press once more, and at 330 degrees I'm going to press that for 30 seconds with light pressure. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over my material, and then I'm going to press for an additional 15 seconds. Okay, and since this is a cool peel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to really quickly do my second little piece of fabric here. So I'm going to go ahead again, preheat for 5 seconds. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and place my design where I'd like it. That looks pretty good to me. again, 30 seconds at 330 degrees, and then I'll flip this as well and give it an additional 15 seconds on the back. Okay, so this has completely cooled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel at an angle, and I'll just monitor all of my parts of the design to make sure everything has laid down, which it has. It looks great, and the glitter is so pretty. I'm not sure if you can see that super well, but in person it has a really pretty shine to it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to open up my little hoop here just by twisting it open, and then I'm going to place the innermost loop underneath, and then I'll place the outer loop over the top, and then I'll start getting it all positioned and centered here. Now this is why you want a little bit of extra fabric, just to give you some room to move it around and see where you like it. Okay, and then I'm just going to place the top right on there. That looks so cute. Oh my goodness, I love how this is turning out. Okay, and then I can just tighten this really quickly as best I can, and then as soon as I have it really tight, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull the material as tight as I can, just to make sure that it's really firmly in there. And this also helps with some straightening if you need to straighten. Now this is a little bit more complicated because I do have lines in my pattern, so trying to get those lined up will be a little bit hard, but it's so cute and homemade, so I'm going to give myself some grace. Okay, so that is the best that I could do, and that looks just fine to me. This is going to be special no matter what. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over, and with some scissors, I am just going to cut off all of my extra pieces. So I'm going to get as close as I can and just get all of the extra material cut away. Okay, so I'm just trimming off all of my extra fabric. And then if I have any areas that are a little bit longer than others, I can go back in and really perfect all of my little cuts. Okay, so that looks really, really nice. I'm happy with how that looks on the back there. So I am just going to turn this over, and then really quickly what I'm going to do is, since my other has cooled, I'll go ahead and peel that, and then I will put together my second one, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to use the jute and the ribbon just to place some final embellishments on them, and also get everything ready to be hung on the tree. Okay, so both of those are done. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use the jute as my little element for hanging them on the tree. So I am going to just take a little bit, let's see, probably about that much, and then I will trim off my extra. And then I'm just going to tie a little knot, and that should just be perfect. Okay. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop it through the front of this little top clasp here, and then I will just pull just like that. So it looks really, really great. Has a little loop there. Okay, so I will go ahead and just do the same for my second one. Okay, and then I will just loop it through just like so, and then that little knot will be in the back there. And I'll just make that really, really tight. Okay, that looks really nice and clean. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bow embellishment right in the top area. So I'm going to use this really fine and pretty lace ribbon, and I think I got this at Michael's. I'm not sure. The brand is Celebrated. I can't remember. But I thought that these would be really fun and girly for some girly ornaments. So I'm just going to tie a bow just like this, and I like to tie it with it still as a long piece. That way if I can just kind of try to save as much material as I can, and then I just kind of size it and play with it, and then trim away my extra, and I'm left with a little bow. So I will just place that right here, and then I'll go ahead and really quickly tie my second one. Okay, so now I'll bring my hot glue in, and I'm just going to glue them right to the top here. So I'll add a little bit of glue there, and just place that knot right on that glue. And then what I like to do with the little sides is I like to put a little bit of glue on each side where those little ribbons hang from the bow, and it just kind of allows them to be placed off to the side without falling onto my design. So it allows them to permanently be where I want them to be. I can boss them around a little bit, and then I can kind of shape them if I want them to kind of puff up a little bit, which I think is really nice to give them a little bit of movement. Okay, so that looks great, and then I will do the same for this right over here. Okay, so here's how they turned out. I love how they look. They turned out even better than I thought. I love how all of the little elements came together to create this final look. And I love the little glitter. I think that is just a really subtle touch that I really think added a little something special. So I love this. I'm really excited that I have a little bit of a story on my Christmas tree. I love that these are little pieces of my girls' dresses because they just look like an ordinary ornament, but to me, they are something super special. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this inspired you to create something a little nostalgic for your tree this year. And please be sure to share this video, give this a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video.